I should do like a super dumb commercial for the break.
I'm sure you can find something.
If not, Callaway, thanks for supporting the channel.
Yeah, we had a great time shooting these rounds today. I can tell you that for sure.
They went through that full auto Glock with no issues. It's the first time I've seen that thing run that well. So
yeah, it was actually beautiful.
I will give Callaway Ballistics a big
great job.
They're doing awesome.
That's for sure. So moving a little bit into my lane, my sphere of things when it comes to content creation, I really focus on music when it comes to talking on my platform. So I have a couple questions that I had written up for you revolving music, and you had floated some of your ideas that you had written up, and of course, again, we had some crossover. But I wanted to ask you, who is your favorite rapper from each of the last 3 decades, and why?
So we got to do, that's 90s?
Yeah, so I'm not counting this decade. I did plan on getting to this decade eventually, but it's hard to fully solidify since we're so early in the decade. But we can also talk about who some of our favorite new rappers are once we get there.
For like knowing the appropriate decades.
Right. I'll check you if it's out of decade, but
I feel like the 90s has to go to Dr. Dre.
Okay, yeah. Dre made barely any music in the 2000s, so you're spot on with your timing there.
But also, like, I feel like, hopefully this isn't another, it's not, I wasn't going to ask you, but I feel like Dre is like the GOAT anyways. Like,
I would say he's one of the GOAT producers.
Yeah.
That's one of my takes. Rapper-wise, I never loved him as a rapper, but God, did he make great music, right? So it's not like necessarily his technical skill that puts him up there. It's like
he's not like a crazy good lyricist,
right? It's not like a Tupac or a Biggie or anything like that.
Full encompassing picture. Not only did he kind of bring hip hop onto the national scale, like there's no denying NWA's influence in public discourse and the direction that hip hop would go in 100%,
general. Right.
I mean, it's crazy to think how much influence they had on the United States.
Right.
But also, like, he produced so many other influential people in the 2000s.
Yeah,
like his, and then
Eminem,
him being
50 Cent, right?
Like, and then he's the first billionaire. Like, so he makes it from nothing to billionaire through the rap industry. But he also has his finger at the exact same time. The Beats headset and everything that went with the Beats computers, they were the first people to do the online streaming platforms. So he didn't capitalize on it. He kind of got screwed, honestly. He didn't get to capitalize on it the way that YouTube and iTunes and stuff did.
Right.
But they were the first people to have it. Like he's just consistently
kind of a trailblazer from the beginning.
So I feel like he takes the 90s just because I don't know how you'd argue that anybody else.
I can respect that decision 100%.
2000s, you had to give it to Eminem, which is not necessarily directly Dre.
Sure.
But I feel like
a product of Dre.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I feel like Eminem kind of did the same thing for making, like, he allowed white culture to enjoy hip hop culture.
100%.
You know?
Oh, he really opened that up for a lot of white youth to, like, feel like they had something to truly relate to.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's one of the biggest parts of music is, like, how do I relate to it, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think he's so majorly important for rap music in that scenario.
Like, when I was growing up, I felt a lot of pressure to stick to, like, my, like, white, like, I grew up in Augusta County.
Right.
I'm supposed to listen to country music. I grew up working on farms and driving pickup trucks, and like, I'm supposed to listen to country. I hate country music, you know? Like, there was always, like, a sense of, like, not guilt, but, like, I'm not supposed to like NWA, you know?
Yeah.
With Eminem coming out, like, it made it okay.
More acceptable, more understandable that that's what you were listening to.
And he made being, like, he made the poor white cool.
Yeah.
Like, being a dirty poor white kid was cool all of a sudden, you know? Like, so, yeah, definitely. 2010s, I feel like Cardi B.
Okay.
Just because Cardi B set a new standard too for her manipulation through reality TV and social media.
Yeah, she had a pretty interesting come up
into that, like, limelight, and then kind of make it. Beyonce will always be queen.
Right.
But
obviously.
like, yeah, it's just, you know, but like, she made it to that Beyonce level, which is a fucking feat.
Oh, I mean, she's huge. She has one of the only rap albums ever, I believe, that every song on it has gone platinum.
Yeah.
And that album released in, I think, like 2018.
Female rappers.
So what? It's been 5
right
years, and she has every song on an album go platinum.
Yeah.
And I think that's another instance of representation, right? Like, there's not a lot of huge female rappers in the space that are well respected, and so the female population who enjoys rap music finally feels like they have something
Yeah.
they could connect to
And
a little bit
she
more.
did a good job of balancing that, because she had to stay ratchet, right? Like she's always been.
Yeah,
that's what you love about Cardi B.
Right,
Like
exactly. That's
she's
what
got
you
that
look for.
ratchet,
Like if she switched up on us,
Yeah.
like a lot of people would be like, I'm
but she
probably
was
not
able
really
to
listening
like
to
still
that.
walk that elegant grace that
Yeah.
Beyonce has. She was able to be both, and I
Right.
think that's kind of like what made her.
Okay.
Because you could have like my mom likes Cardi B.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't know what Cardi B sings. She knows a song off the radio, but
Right.
that is appealing to her. Like she cast such a large net and found interest among so many people.
100%.
And if you go back and watch, because my wife has made me watch like every season of 11 Hip Hop Show.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch her when she was coming out, I feel like she is one of those. She is an excellent example of how you can manifest what you want in your life. She said on that show nonstop where she was going to be, what she was going to do, and was.
Yeah.
You can watch on the show, people just just hated on her. And
Yeah.
out of everybody from Love and Hip Hop, even people that were already established in the industry,
Yeah.
she is far and away
Right.
the biggest.
In
out of that
comparison,
show.
they're like irrelevant when it comes
like
to
Young Jock is like still out there trying to make it happen on Love and
Right.
Hip Hop. You know, like it's
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
Right.
man.
He had his small little stint, and now he's
I'm
kind of.
a huge Young
I did
Jock fan,
enjoy
man.
a little bit. Yeah, I was gonna say a little guilty pleasure.
The 2000s, the I don't know what was happening with like the style and like the music and the style.
Right.
But it was like Tweety Bird and like
Yeah.
this chain hang
Yeah.
low. What the hell was with that song?
That was so strange, but like me, I'm 26, so like I was literally a kid hearing that song. And
Oh, it was probably
like
fire.
It was based on like a nursery rhyme,
No,
right?
I remember watching,
like something
I remember
like
like
that.
hanging
And
out
so-
with dudes that were like legit run up in your spot, like they like dudes like in prison now,
Right.
listening to Chain Hang Low,
Right.
rolling around in this old ass like 80s Cadillac, all the seats all fucked up in it, and that dude rolling around town like he was like hardest dude in town.
Yeah,
like,
isn't it just crazy?
Like,
Like,
sound like you're on the
yeah.
Sesame Street.
How
right
does
now,
that
man.
connect to like a gangster? But that's just like what the 2000s were
was
somehow.
weird, man.
Like you even think about how goofy some of the styling was, like just the like super baggy, like biggest clothes you could find.
Soulja
and
Boy adds,
somehow,
like,
somehow it was like more gangster when you had baggier clothes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude,
it was a very weird space in the 2000s. Who's the most impressive live performer that you've ever seen in concert?
Not hip hop.
Okay.
But Radiohead.
Okay.
I'm a big Radiohead fan.
Gotcha.
And I got to see them at Lollapalooza in Chicago.
Okay.
I will admit.
What year did you go?
It would have been like 09,
Okay.
something like that.
Cool.
It's a little fuzzy part of my life.
Sure.
But,
we all have those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was day 3 of the festival, so it had already been a good festival as far as like narcotics consumption. And then me and a buddy split a 10 strip, or we both ate 10 strips. I don't know. We were frying.
Yeah.
And Tom York came out on stage, dude, and he was the only thing lit up on stage was Tom York. And that dude is just such an amazing musician. Like he's just such a good artist.
Totally.
And he came out and I don't remember what song it was, but it started real slow, just him singing in that crazy like angel like voice, that real high pitched voice that he has. And as soon as the guitar broke, the stage lit and they had these huge LED lights all over the place that we hadn't like taken notice of all day.
Right.
Lit the whole crowd up and a helicopter flew over at the exact same time.
No way.
Dude, I was frying.
Oh, that's
It was
amazing.
like the coolest moment of my life.
Totally. I could see that.
But the show was awesome, and then it ends, and we're walking out, and it has, I don't remember the name of the road now, but that main road that runs around outside of, is it Grant Park?
I've never been to Chicago, but
whatever that big park is that's right on the water where they have the festival.
Okay.
There's like a 8-lane road that they just shut down, and
Right.
the entire, or at least that's what it was when I was tripping. It could have been fucking 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
But it was like shut down, dude, as far as you could see in either direction. It was just cars backed up.
Wow.
And we all walk out, and there's a car like way off in the distance that honks. And the entire crowd like erupts and just yells like back at the car.
Yeah, just like, fuck
and you can just hear it like echo through the city. And it was just this moment of like, man, like, look at what like people together can fucking accomplish.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, and then I
100%.
proceeded to spend another hour with my buddy Lost.
Yeah.
We were trying to go to a McDonald's. And I don't know if there's like a McDonald's on every block or if it was just 2 McDonald's. We were going back and forth, but we were trying to find the other guys in our group and just could not.
Yeah,
Dude,
just
we
like
must have
kept
looked
on
like,
trading. Like
Yeah.
you guys,
We
you
must
would
have
go to
looked
the
like
one and they were
crazy
coming on the other side to the
but
other.
dude, it was like the nice part of town where there's like bellhops out everywhere, and it's me and this other like we're 140 pounds frying on acid, like sweaty, haven't had a shower in 3 days, running around the nice part of Chicago. We had this guy walk up to us and say that that he would buy us whatever we wanted off of the Burger King menu, and we were like, okay, I'm listening.
Why?
like, what do you want, man?
Yeah.
And he was like, if you guys come up to my apartment and let me film you having sex with each other.
I knew that one was coming. I knew it'd be something along those
Chicago,
lines.
Man.
Right?
It's wild, dude. Wild.
Dude, that's insanity.
He was a normal looking guy, man.
Yeah.
And well, I guess we weren't high school kids technically. I guess we were both legal at that point, but we look like high school kids.
Lucky for his sake, yeah. Right? Like, holy shit.
Anyways, that was a divergent off subject, but weird.
Sounds like an experience though.
In my life,
100% a hell of an experience.
My years, like from 16 to like 21 when I went into the Army, we could go there for a while. I did a lot of wild stuff, man.
I mean, I'm always down to listen.
I always say there's a reason that people go in the Army.
Yeah.
Like, very few guys are like so patriotic that they sign up at 18. Usually
Right.
they're like, don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah. So that is one of my questions that I actually have written up for you, is why you enlisted. But before we go off the performer topic, I wanted to ask you, dead or alive, you could see any musician perform live in concert at any venue or era, who would it be? So I'm saying, like, if you wanted to, not like if Michael Jackson was your person,
yeah,
you could go see him in the
like
80s
in the prime.
when yeah, as opposed to him like being alive now and like performing.
I mean, there would definitely be some hip hop artists that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like early days would be cool.
Right.
But I feel like nobody, man, I don't know. I got two answers.
Okay.
I feel like they're gonna be radically different.
Okay.
So I think that no one has commanded a crowd as good as Freddie Mercury with Queen.
Okay.
I think like the heyday when they were selling out like stadiums.
Oh yeah.
And like that the artistic level behind the lyrics, the artistic with the actual music, and they're one of those iconic bands that could actually like play live as good as they are.
Totally.
And then that guy's voice, man, like there's something just
beautiful.
Special about watching. Like
You've seen
love
the movie,
to see
right?
him live. Yeah.
Great
I would
movie.
love to see him live, man.
Totally.
Especially like the last scene where it's that massive stadium, and just to see if
I mean, I get chills. Like,
I'm huge on
that scene
energy.
in the movie.
Like that's my religion in life.
Totally.
Is like energy.
Yeah.
And dude, what kind of energy was packed in that place?
Oh, I mean,
and everybody knew that dude was gay. Like there was no like, I didn't know Freddie Mercury.
And isn't
like,
that so cool
no
for
one
that
gave
time,
a shit.
right? Like it was just like, he's just such an amazing being that everyone could care less, and they're just like in awe.
My other one though would be Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit.
Nice.
Dude, I have like Joe Dirt deep inside me. There's a deep run of white trash out in there somewhere. I'm in my core, I'm a poor white kid, man.
I don't blame you. We all have different answers and opinions on that.
I can't remember what was the iconic Woodstock. Mm-hmm. When Woodstock came back and Fred Durst took the crowd and turned the crowd into a riot.
Right.
Dude, to like be front and center and watch that. Like, have you seen the documentary on it?
I haven't.
Dude, it's wild. So they get the guys that put on like the new Woodstock event like totally blow it. They don't understand what music is of the day. They don't understand like what the rebellion is of the day. It's the time of like Fight Club, and like there's this angst amongst like young men where there's like no war going on. There's no like, you kind of have some crime, but everything's pretty good, you know? And all of the music at the time is like breaks, like literally Limp Bizkit and that song Break Stuff, right? Like that is like the theme of movies and music.
Right.
So they have Woodstock, and it's just nothing but all of these guys that want to come see these like heavy metal bands of the time, which included Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like their set also got out of control. But
that's kind of wild.
Fred Durst gets told like don't. Like they were like already kind of known. Like they were worried.
They knew
about
where it was going to go. Sure.
So he gets out there, starts his set, and the crowd immediately starts breaking stuff. Like immediately. So they come out and they like make it. They pull Fred off stage and they make an announcement. And they like threaten the crowd, right? Which is dumb. Like where are they going to go? So they threaten the crowd, and then Fred Durst comes back out on stage and he's like, they start I think it's Break Stuff is the song that they do, but they start like the bass note. And the crowd, dude, the crowd knows, insane. The producers don't. So the crowd, you can see it.
Right,
like
the energy just forming.
And he's sitting there, he's got one foot up on the speaker, like on the playback speaker, and he's looking back at the producer. And he like, you can watch him debate the decision. Like, if I do this, I'm never getting booked anywhere again.
Totally.
But I have this entire crowd in my hand.
Yeah, it's
and he
too
like
good
turns
of an
to the crowd,
too good of a moment.
Pretty sure it's Break Stuff.
Yeah.
But like the song drops,
That's
and
beautiful.
you can in the video, dude, you can watch the look on his face change.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "We're doing it, dude."
Yeah.
And they just riot.
Dude, that's awesome.
On the video, you can see like as the sound waves travel through the crowd and that bass note, like that hit of the music hits everybody, you can watch the wave, dude, and the whole place just erupts.
Oh yeah.
There was like a bunch of really bad stuff that happened at that Woodstock, but I feel like same as the first Woodstock.
I was gonna say, I mean, things
like because they had the same problem.
It's
like,
happening
no water,
in
no food.
modern concerts as well. What it just happened at a Travis Scott concert a few years ago, right?
Like same thing.
Just not enough water. People were getting trampled. Like I think a few people did actually die there. But it was just the crowd was so packed that paramedics weren't able to like get in
it's
and
on
actually.
The hosts, man.
And people
go
are
to those events and like a bottle of water is $8.
Right.
Why are you doing it? The people that are coming are kids.
Right.
And
exactly.
you're what? Dude, I'm 34 and I don't have money to spend for 2 days worth of music where I'm trying to eat with $8 bottles of water.
Right, like you're trying to be as cheap as you can.
Yeah, and I already spent all my money on drugs, right? Because I'm at a fucking music festival.
Yeah, trying to go wild.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, so like obviously these people are on drugs, altered in the scenario, and like people who have not been, I guess, introduced to things like people passing out and fucking coding right in front of you. Normal people are seeing this and they're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're probably high as shit. Like, someone's down, but they, don't have the wherewithal to be like, spread out. Like
I worked at Bonnaroo when I was a kid, and that was like very eye-opening to like what everything was like all love and hippie and working at Bonnaroo where you see like, oh no, actually everybody's getting raped and there's ODs like every 10 minutes.
It's
and like
insane.
It was a whole different. Like,
but I guess just real quick, I wanted to give my who. So I love that you brought up the New Age Woodstock because my dead or alive artist has to be Jimi Hendrix, and I would have to see him at the OG Woodstock. Like I just can't even imagine seeing him like shred with his mouth, like stuff like that.
His headband wrapped with Vermont white acid.
Right.
Like
just like an absolute legend. One of the best guitarists we've ever seen on this earth, and the presence that he commanded, and like just that vibe that was going on at the Woodstock. Obviously, forgetting about the other bad stuff that happens.
Can you imagine seeing Joe Cocker sing "A Little Help from My Friends" for the first time?
Right.
No one even knew who he was. They needed to fill stage time, and I think Janis Joplin was like, "Oh, I know this guy that can sing." So they didn't know, dude. There was people. I guess like when Joe Cocker when that first came out, there were some videos and stuff that went around in the public and I guess news events. But there was like backlash because people thought that the way that he like contorts himself when he sings, that he was like making fun of like disabled people, which is just interesting because that was a long time ago and we were just dumb.
I was gonna say that sounds like the beginning of like what the media sounds like now, but that would Jimi Hendrix. It would be one hell of a show.
Do you know? Can I tell you an interesting fact about Jim Morrison?
Sure.
So do you know who Jim Morrison's dad is?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know what the Gulf of Tonkin incident is?
No.
Okay, so you know what the Vietnam War is, though, right?
Of course, yeah.
So the Gulf of Tonkin incident was the U.S. government's justification to go to war in Vietnam.
Okay.
So there was a naval ship that was attacked, and I don't remember exactly the details, but it was like blown up very like when Israel drove a boat into one of our naval vessels in the 90s that we never talk about.
Yeah. Swept under.
Yeah, just ignore the fact that Israel killed American soldiers. But anyways, so there's the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and that is the justification to begin Vietnam War. Jim Morrison's dad was the admiral in charge of that fleet.
Wow.
Right? So it's always been like an interesting historical fact that Jim Morrison would grow up to be Jim Morrison, right?
Right.
But
one of the
under
leaders
the Obama administration, they declassified all these CIA documents from the 60s, and one of the things that came out in the declassification was that the Gulf of Tonkin incident was a CIA operation and was staged. So as the admiral of that fleet, I can't imagine that he wouldn't have known.
Right.
You know? And it makes me wonder, like, did Jim know?
Is that part of why he made
But he like understood, even in the state of Jim Morrison, he understood like the damage that like no one would believe him probably, but also like the damage it could potentially do, so it just never came out. But like, can you imagine learning that at a young age, that like all of this is going on, all this turmoil that you see in your country, and your dad was like directly involved with faking the justification for it? Like, that would make someone like Jim Morrison
100%.
Like,
and I mean that
nihilistic.
Not to say that. I was gonna say
like,
not to say that it's a good thing that happened, but that's a cool story
it's
to
weird,
like
right?
picture that maybe being why he became who he did. I mean, that's
then the influence that he has for years after that.
Totally. That's truly amazing.